Good morning. When we were in elementary school and high school and on break, my mom would often pull out a card table and crack open a puzzle. And she loved to do those. And depending on what else we were doing while we were off from school, we would drift over to the table, and often we'd have music going and we'd hang out at the table and work together on that. And it was such a fun family thing. Now, granted, I wasn't always in the mood, but it was fun just to see that happening and to be part of it when I did feel like it. One thing that's important when you're putting together a puzzle is, and there are different ways of starting a puzzle, right? There are people who go right for the edges, who create the boundary, the framework for the rest of the puzzle, where others will go for colors and shades of color and start grouping those, and then creating piles or groups and working from there. But you learn really quickly when you work on a puzzle that there's only one place for each piece. Each piece belongs in a specific place. Such a great analogy for life. When we're in middle school and high school, all we do is make every effort to fit into that place, to belong by looking like others, by dressing like others, speaking like others. And the fads that we cling to when we're younger, really, it's a lot of those brand names don't even exist anymore. And yet, the experience that we have of trying to fit in and look like others often shapes the rest of our life. Some of us even carry that over into adulthood, or perhaps you've been made to feel that way by your family, that there's a certain behavior that's expected, and you can't stray from that. Even in our faith, as a Christian, many of us have been taught that there's only one way to fit, one way to belong as a Christian. And in my experience, which isn't perfect, but in my experience, that really isn't always true. We are given the boundaries, we are given the edges of what it means to be a Christian. But how we fill in that picture cannot be like anyone else lives it. It's got to be unique. It's got to be the way we fill in the picture of being Christian, fitting in. Even Christ, if we talk about him for a minute, for a while he fit in, he conformed, he did the good Jewish things. And then at a certain point he stood out. He no longer simply fit in, but he stood out. He had been assimilating what he'd been taught, processing it in his own life with prayer, and discerning that, this is the way I'm going to live it. This is the way I'm going to be a good Jew. Well, until we get to that point where we process for ourselves what the best way for you and me to be a Christian, we're really only conforming outer behaviors. The whole idea of being a witness in the world is to actually conform the inner. That your heart begins to connect so deeply with the model of the life of Christ or of good people around us, that then we embody it in a way that moves us forward, not even connected to what somebody else might dictate our Christianity or our faith might look like. Fitting in is important. If you don't feel like you fit in, you often feel like an oddball. But at some point in our life, your faith, my faith, will cause us to stand out. We will not look like other people around us. We will not speak or sound like other people around us. We need to carry that light that's been given to us into the world to help so much suffering, to help with the darkness, to help with the heavy, heavy burdens that people are carrying, with the anxiety, with the fear, with the sense of depression and doom. We carry that light. We carry that puzzle piece of who we uniquely are, and we contribute the gift of ourself to the big picture. And because of that, because we're motivated by love, that effort will be blessed and will bear fruit. We may not see it in our lifetime, but we believe it is true. So, go be yourself. And don't be afraid that you're not enough. God's got a plan, and you fit the piece.